Greetings. Thank you for joining us again today. I'd like to talk today about a mobile phone. A mobile phone we upgraded to recently with 3 Mobile. Now whether you go with 3 or your local phone provider, it doesn't really matter. This is a review of the phone, not 3 service. So we went with this one, which is the Redmi Pro 11 5G. Redmi Note 11 Pro 5G. Comes with this standard box, standard affair, nice box, manual, charger, phone of course, and there's a sleeve, but I've lost the sleeves somewhere. I thought that's nice. It's got reasonable specifications, 128 gigabytes of RAM and 6 gigabytes of RAM, which is more than enough to play with. It's more than enough for a few apps, which is great. But there's also the facility to expand that memory, that storage, by way of a little memory card. The device has the facility to use 2 SIMs if you want. If you've got your burner SIM and your regular SIM, you can have both in the phone at once. But if you do that, then you can't use the memory slot. Now, this particular phone is going back to the shop soon because it stopped working. And it stopped reading the SIM port, which is not ideal. And there's a few other faults, but that's the main fault, which basically means it's essentially a brick as far as I'm concerned. Bit sad. I mean, that can happen. We're going to allow for that because we'll let the Xiaomi Redmi customer service pick that one up. Let's get on though to a few other aspects of the phone which I found kind of disturbing. Let's turn the camera around here. So first of all, what's the like? Well, initially I thought, you know what, that charger, it's quite chunky, it's heavy. I thought that's a nice charger, I like that. And when it lives up to the expectations and charges quickly, you think that's really great. Now, I'm not an impatient individual. If it takes 3 hours to charge a phone, it takes 3 hours, but this one will do it in 20 minutes, which is quite good. Moving on to the phone, it's just standard affair. It's running Android, nothing to complain about there, and it's their own build. And for the most part, it works quite well, and there are a lot of features to like. But, there's always buts. Let's talk about fingerprint sensors. Let's zoom in on that, shall we? Will I zoom in? There we go. So the power switch is also the fingerprint sensor, which I think is not ideal because it's one of those places which you're going to press all the time and it's going to get damaged. In my case, the fingerprint sensor does not work. It doesn't seem to detect a finger at all. Which comes as no surprise and it's disappointing. I don't like to use these features, but I like them there just in case. And since you're only taking an image of a sliver of your finger, maybe that's a security risk. I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me. Next, let's have a look at the phone itself. Now, the screen's quite bright, but quite a few people have commented that the screen burns in pretty quickly, which is not ideal on a phone of this, with this sort of cost. You want to be using this for 2 years. What you don't want to be looking at is ghosts of screens past. Not brilliant. Oh, turn round, you pain in the neck. Right. Let's move that aside just for a second. So let's have a chat about what's good. Well, what's good is a good clear screen, and if you've got glasses, it really is crispy. It's got a decent refresh rate, and that's really nice. It's easy on the eyes. You can tell, very decent. It comes with an awful lot of bloatware. Bloatware that you can't delete, because if you try and delete it, it'll deny access. The next time you look at the phone, it's just restored access to these things. If you roll back the updates that the software keeps trying to pull on you, it updates those again when it gets the next chance, and it will keep doing it. There's no way to stop the updates, and it continually spams you with bloatware adverts. There is a feature which is linked to the themes. There is a carousel software which gives you the option of updating different screens. I don't like it because I like things simple. I like to pick a picture and stick with that, but the themes gives you the option to, oh yes, more adverts within adverts. Marvellous. No, skip that. You see, it's all the time. You have to X out of the adverts within an advert. And you get various themes you can go with. No telling whether they're going to cause you problems or not, and some of them, a lot of them, are paid. Don't like it, want to be able to turn it off, can't turn it off. Keeps popping up on your lock screen. What also pops up on your lock screen are a lot of adverts for cute, rubbishy games. I don't need the adverts for cute, rubbishy games all the time. It will even pop these up when it's not connected to the network. So if you go into a place where you don't have 5G signal, 3G, 2G even, it'll still do it. This phone is also capable of ignoring the settings. You know, when you go standard settings and you go, ooh, I want to be quiet today, so for example, mute it. Go mute it. Put it on silent so it vibrates. You're in an office, you don't want to be disturbed, or you certainly don't want everyone knowing you've got your phone on. It'll just ignore that and ring out all the same. And this is a stock setting, by the way. I haven't changed anything. This is just what it does. Obviously, it won't pick up any calls at the moment because there's no SIM, but still. The other thing it does, and it really does it at its worst when it's got a SIM, is when you use the security software to scan, as we're doing here, or pull a security scan, what it can do is present you with, oh, there, everything looks great, which is fine, okay. See along here, dual apps, deep clean. This is adverts. This is the standard adverts that it comes with, but once it starts to access your network, it'll present you with other adverts, other things you don't want, and also adverts that chime in at full volume, for video adverts, which is absolutely awful if you happen to be trying to just do a little update whilst you're quietly listening in a meeting. Very embarrassing very quickly. And there's no way to see more adverts there, and it kicks in with these all the time. Clean now. Try cleaning things. You can never tell what's going to trigger it, but let's just clean some things and delete some data, see what happens. Okay. Has it deleted? Has it heck? A lot of the settings you have to go into settings that are deeply buried within menus in order to deny permission to present you with more adverts. But still it does it. Yeah, deep hatred for the software, deep hatred for the adverts, because ultimately it's paid for. Why should I have to deal with more adverts on a paid for device with paid for software? Anyway, so in conclusion, this thing is a spam-tastic piece of junk, and I'm minded to take it back, get it replaced, and then just leave it in the drawer, because that's where it deserves to be. Absolute rubbish. If you get the chance to go for a new phone, go for anything but this. Not this. And I'd avoid any in the Redmi range, really, honestly. Quite disappointed. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rant. Hope you haven't got a stinker like this. I hope you have a great day. See you soon.